Welcome to the Pool Genius NFL Pick Show for week number 10. My name is Spencer, and I'm joined by Jason Lisk, the lead analyst over at Pool Genius. And we did pretty well last week. We hit both of our spread picks, hit the teaser, also gave you some value picks to consider. We're going to do the same this week. Hopeful to hit those as well. How you doing? Looking forward to this week 10 slate, Jason.
Yeah, good. My team's on a bye week this week, so I get to not stress about the NFL. But your team, the Minnesota Vikings, for a moment there, they were like the biggest upset of the year. Very brief moment, thanks to the Packers and the Panthers, but big win on the road at Detroit. I know you had little faith in them. How are you feeling this week? Because it seems like when you get optimistic, things go bad for Minnesota. When you don't believe in them, they come out with a good performance. How are you feeling about this week?
Well, yeah, it is well documented on this show that whatever I say about the Vikings that week, do the exact opposite. So I did, in fact, have a Detroit teaser in my portfolio last week. So stands to reason that the Vikings won outright in that game. But this week, I don't know if this changes what you're going to say against the spread for our later segment, but I kind of like the Vikings plus 4.5 in this game against Baltimore at home. Do with that information what you will, fade or follow, but fading has been extremely profitable this season. So that's not going to be my official spread pick. We'll get to those later a little bit, but yeah. That's my initial lean. So
there you go, folks. He's back on JJ McCarthy. All hail the black face paint.
All right, so we are going to get into, we have 4 value picks for your game winner and spread pools. We're going to run through those real quick. Then Jason and I are going to get to our favorite picks against the spread for this week. Mine's not going to be the Vikings. That's just a lean. And then we're going to outline our favorite teaser of the week once again. So let's get into these value plays. The first one we have lined up, I am looking at the Football Pick'em data grid here on our Pool Genius site over at poolgenius.com. I will link that in the description below so you can gain access to that. We have plenty of options and free trial offers available. So you can click the link below and get access to all the splits of all the games, how people in different pools are picking these teams. And we will quote those percentages through the 4 we have picked here. So the first one is the Green Bay Packers showing value at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a Monday Night Football matchup, and the Packers are actually a value favorite. They are favored by 2 to 2.5 points here. We give them 54% chance to win, according to the Pool Genius odds. Only 26% of the public is taking them, and I think that makes a little bit of sense given they stunk it up against Carolina last week. The Eagles are coming off a bye. It kind of adds up, but at the same time, just taking a step back objectively, how these teams are power rated, I would say it's valid that the Packers are favored here. And I don't know, how are you seeing this one in game winner pools? Would you side with the Packers here, or you think Philadelphia can come in and get the win in Lambeau?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about teams that are like unpredictable. Green Bay is a team that has, I mean, they're 6. Am I correct? They're 6-2-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the
Those
2 losses are to Cleveland and Carolina at home, and then also the tie is to Dallas. So if you looked at their schedule, they've been all over the place. I think the market has been higher on Green Bay for the most part than what they've actually put up consistently. I wonder if there's cracks in that, because the market has had Green Bay above Philadelphia even on a neutral field. The Tucker Kraft injury could be a big deal. That said, it's in Green Bay. I get that this would be, I think these teams are close, and it's in Green Bay. But I do wonder if Green Bay is not quite as good as we've what we saw in week one. They haven't consistently lived up to the hype. Just say what you want about how that game played out with Carolina, and they squandered many opportunities. But that game only had 7 possessions for Green Bay. And so even though Carolina didn't pass the ball great and they were able to like shorten the game by running effectively and just getting enough first downs. So it was a low scoring game with few possessions. And so for an underdog, this defense dominated Detroit in week one and Washington in week two. And we haven't consistently seen it since then to that level where they look like, oh, this is a Super Bowl caliber, one of the best defenses in the league consistently. So I have my concerns about Green Bay, but if the public is heavily on one side, I'll probably have to lean the other side here because I do think there's an argument for Green Bay, obviously playing up to the level of its competition and holding serve at home.
Yeah, in our second value pick on the board here, we've seen some line movement here. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be playing at the Houston Texans. Jaguars currently favored by 1.5 points. We give them 55% chance to win, according to the odds, yet only 32% of the public is picking them. And this line, it was actually the Texans favored by 1.5 points. And then CJ Stroud was just ruled out right before we went on to record this. So that line swung back. Jacksonville's favored now on the road. And that public pick rate has not caught up to that, to their relative win odds. Of course, check this data grid. Maybe some people will be changing their picks as they see CJ Stroud is out. But I really think that this value pick is going to hold up. And majority will be off of Jacksonville, especially after last week, how they just barely got by the Las Vegas Raiders. And a game they really probably should have lost. They could have lost that several times over. But how do you see this one, especially considering Houston's going with backup quarterback Davis Mills?
Yeah, this could make it an ugly game, right? I wanted to suggest, because I think I've had a pretty good read on when these lines aren't fully baking in the risk of quarterback misses. And when I looked at this line early in the week and what our power ratings and looked at headlines, it felt to me like they had only moved about 3.5 points over what it would have been if we knew Stroud had finished Sunday and was healthy, which to me is not reflective of the full difference between Stroud and Davis Mills. And so I thought there was plenty of meat on the bone for this line to shift to Jacksonville as a favorite. So I was going to recommend take Jacksonville at plus money, and you can probably come back and take Houston at plus money by close once we get the Stroud news. And unfortunately, that news hit while we're recording, so I can't give you that opportunity. And now Jacksonville's favored. So that said, it doesn't surprise me that Jacksonville's not favored. I did expect that Stroud would miss. I don't trust Jacksonville as a road favorite. That said, again, if the public's going to be heavily on Houston, it's not like I trust Houston either with Davis Mills. This is going to be an ugly defensive battle. Trevor Lawrence better hope he looks better than Davis Mills. It's been an up and down season for this Jacksonville offense. They've got injuries at wide receiver, so that's going to impact them going against this Houston defense. So the potential for a low scoring game, which probably means shootout. But yeah, I see this as a tight, low scoring game. They could go either way. And so I'd probably lean against the public in basically what is a toss-up game, but I don't have much faith that Jacksonville is, even with Stroud out, a significantly better team.
Yeah. And definitely pick your spots with these. You don't necessarily have to take them all, incorporate them into whether you're behind in your game winner pool, whether you're playing a weekly pool, will kind of dictate how much risk you want to take on throughout all these games that we go through. So our third value pick for game winner pools, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to the West Coast at the LA Chargers on Sunday. They are anywhere between a 2.5 and 3-point underdog are the Steelers. 45% win odds is what we're giving them, and the public pick rate is 24%. Now, the Steelers look pretty good. That aggressive defense really lived up to their name last week. They played some Tomlin ball, created 6 turnovers against the Colts, who were steamrolling everyone up to that point. So the biggest question is, was that just a blip where they just happened to find a bunch of turnovers and they're gonna go back to the weird, shaky Steelers that we saw lose to the Bengals and whatnot? Or is that a sign that they're sort of turning the corner, playing a little bit better, and they could potentially get this victory on the road at the LA Chargers, who, by the way, are dealing with more offensive line injuries. We saw them stumble when Joe Alt, their star offensive tackle, was sidelined before. Now he's gone for the season. So how do you see this one, Jason?
Yeah, so the value's on Pittsburgh, right? Like
Yep.
the public is on. So I like Pittsburgh in this situation as a dog. They've been somewhat unpredictable, as you said. Now, I will say this: the turnovers, that was vintage, like Mike Tomlin era, right? Like they're a home
Joey
dog.
Porter, James
They're a
Harrison.
home dog. 3 points. Everybody was on the Colts. In fact, I went and played the Steelers money line, not because I had any great like faith, but man, when everybody on Sunday is picking the Colts, including everybody on all the talking head shows, and this line hasn't moved all week, that I was like, anytime up until today, like this year's been a little weird, but like throughout most of my adult life, when you see that, you know something's about to happen and the upset's about to occur and the home team's going to win, especially when it's a Tomlin home team. And so, yeah, we got Tomlin magic. Now, I will say this. It's hard to predict 6 turnovers. They shut Jonathan Taylor down.
Yeah.
And that directly led to a lot of those turnovers, right? They put Daniel Jones in positions that he has not been in for most of the year in terms of where throwing on the, in behind the sticks in at disadvantageous positions under pressure. And so because they could not run the ball as they have done all year long, I think that impacted. Now, Daniel Jones has been really good as a passer within that offense, but the Steelers disrupted what they had been doing successfully, and it made a difference. So will that continue? They definitely found some. I mean, this team has been flammable through the air. They've been giving up yards to the tight ends. We've seen this. But you know what? The Alt injury. That's the main reason. I would take Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh as an upset pick. I definitely like them as a value pick. This Chargers team is a drastically different team with Joe Alt not playing. On top of, not having Rashawn Slater to start the year. That's 2 big losses for a team that I think would have been up there with the contenders, but is now moving closer to an average team. And we saw that this year. Like when Alt was out, they were not as good. And then when he came back, they won convincingly a couple games ago. And then after he left, it was a struggle against Tennessee. I mean, they won because Tennessee's not very good, but against a better opponent, they would have probably lost last week. So yeah, I like getting Pittsburgh in this spot because I think the Chargers are a lot closer to an average team now, and this Pittsburgh team's going to travel. It's going to be a Pittsburgh stadium. The Steelers crowd heavily at this game.
Yeah, you'll definitely see those terrible towels waving in SoFi on Sunday. So let's move on to our 4th value pick of the weekend. We have the New England Patriots drawing value here. They are on the road at the Tampa Bay Bucks, currently profiling as a 2.5-point underdog on the road. 45% is the win odds that we're giving them right now, and the public's only picking them about 24% of the time in game winner pools. Patriots have a nice little winning streak going. Of course, they beat the Buffalo Bills to start that off. The other wins in that winning streak, not quite up to that caliber. They've, granted, they've won the games that were on their schedule. That's what you're supposed to do. But little bit different of a matchup here that they haven't really had this strong of a test in over a month or so. They're on the road at Tampa Bay. How do you see this one?
I mean, I like New England here as a value play. I do. Now, it's funny. Did you see Vrabel's comments about strength of schedule and kind of like getting huffy about people talking about
No, but I can imagine.
Yeah. And so But the fact is, yes, they've had a very easy strength of schedule, right? They've been able to take advantage of these teams. But here's what I would say: it's allowed a young team with a young quarterback to build confidence. And we did see him go into Buffalo, and they haven't had to consistently play. Like, if you compare it to like the Chiefs schedule or Detroit's schedule, it's nowhere close, right? Like, their average game is like playing the Browns and the Jets, and the Chiefs' average game is playing a completely healthy Chargers team in Brazil, and, or on the road at Jacksonville, who's in the playoff hunt. And so different schedules, but it's allowed this team to build confidence, and I think they're better than people are giving them credit for. The other thing I like here is that this Tampa Bay team, we thought maybe coming out of the bye, maybe they'd be a little healthier. Maybe they get some key pieces back. It doesn't sound like running back Bucky Irving's going to be back. It doesn't sound like Chris Godwin's close to playing. We know they lost Mike Evans. So this is still a team that it's 100% solid. And I think the matchup, Tampa Bay's run defense, but New England doesn't run it anyway. So I think it's fine. I don't think that's going to bother. They're not going to bang their heads against trying to run against this Tampa Bay rush defense, and I think they can win this game. Absolutely. I think it'll be a close game, and I'm willing to take the dog at value.
Yeah, now let's move on to our favorite spread picks of the week. I'll go first. And it feels kind of weird playing this particular team as a favorite. But hey, this is where we are in the NFL 2025 Week 10. I like the Cleveland Browns as a road favorite. -2 at the New York Jets. Of course, the Jets just traded away some key defensive pieces, Sauce Gardner, and then their defensive tackle Williams in the middle there. I think that's going to help the Browns a little bit. I don't want to overstate that, but just looking at things, I think the Browns are at their best when they can run the ball. We all know what that Cleveland defense can do. They're obviously the superior defense in this matchup. I think they get to Justin Fields. They kind of flip this game. They keep the Jets out of the end zone, and then the Browns hopefully are able to run the ball here and really control this thing, win it on the road, and cover the spread. That's the way that I see this going. That's why I'm willing to lay the points, albeit it's only 2 points, with Cleveland on the road. The Jets are bottom 10 in rushing defense this year in terms of total yards given up and yards per carry. I really think Cleveland can get that running game going, get Quinshon Judkins going. Take control of this game and really dust off the Jets, because let's face it, the Jets are tanking here, and that's probably what they should do at this point in the season. But I like the Browns. Both these teams coming off a bye, so there's no huge rest advantage. But I just think the Browns are more prepared to control this game than the Jets currently are.
Yeah, I mean, the things that would give me pause were kind of what you said. Cleveland's defense is the better defense. They haven't played quite as well on the road.
Yes.
They've been a very dominant unit at home. And just laying it with a offensive situation like Cleveland with a young quarterback and they haven't won much. But on the other hand, like you said, I think I like it more that the Jets got their win over Cincinnati in that crazy game. Yeah. And they aren't that team still looking for their first win and desperate and trying to like get off the schneid. And so I do kind of like that. And now they did just trade away people. So I think there could be an impact. Like, you're in a room and some of the best players are gone and they were there a day before. That can have an impact on you. And then like, Justin Fields takes a ton of sacks. Yeah. And this line's going to generate sacks. So there's a very strong possibility they generate turnovers and sacks in this game based on the matchup, based on Fields not really getting to his second reads very quickly and tending to take sacks. So I do like the Browns, but with the caveat, of course, that you're backing a bad team.
I'm not afraid to back bad teams.
No, I'm going to back. Yeah, I'm going to be doing it here. I'm going to be doing it here soon. But not in this game. Not for my spread pick. Separate upset picks. Check that out. But I'm going to go with my spread pick. I'm going to the NFC West. There's two out there. I've talked myself out of. I like both sides of Seattle, Arizona, so it's not that game. because I like Seattle, but I also think Arizona's better with Brissett. And so I'm just going to lay off that. I'm going to go to the Rams 49ers rematch, and I'm going to lay the points with the Rams. They're a 4.5-point favorite. This is a game that cost us dearly in Survivor, if you recall. This is a game that was one of the wildest games of the year. 49ers came out right away. They had all those injuries, and the line shot up to like 8 or 9. The 49ers jumped on them early. Were up big in the first quarter. And then from that point on, the Rams largely dominated the game, but kept shooting themselves in the foot. And it still went to overtime. I mean, they had everything that you could have happen in that game. They racked up 475 yards and 27 first downs and lost. And this 49ers defense has since, had even more injury losses. And so I like this Rams. I just think they're the better team, and I think they have the motivation with that loss in this rivalry game. And in fact, I've done research. I wrote an article a few years ago about these division rematches. When a team wins its first game on the road and then returns home in the division rematch to try to get the sweep. So we're talking about the team in the 49ers situation, right? They won on the road. Now they're at home trying to complete the sweep. Those are great spots to play the road team. 44, I forget the exact data set. I'll link it. We have the article, and I'll probably try to update it. But it was under 45% covered of those home teams. So, which means the road teams, like in the Rams situation, the teams that gotten beat, and now we're seeking revenge on the road, covered 55% of the time. So I like the Rams laying the points in a matchup where they already showed they can move the ball and where the 49ers have some issues, and where I think the Rams got embarrassed a little bit with how they played, with the fumbles and with all the various mistakes they made. And I look for them to not have that energy when they show up here for this game, because they look like a Super Bowl contender recently. And so I'm willing to lay it here against the team that's 6-3, but a little more banged up and has been doing it with smoke and mirrors more.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, let's get to our favorite teaser picks. Let's create a 2-leg 6-point teaser. I'm going to give my favorite teaser bet, and then you give yours. We're going to combine those. We're going to hopefully get minus 120 odds. I was able to find the one last week and cash in on it at minus 120 odds. Well, one of the listeners commented below that they only have one sports book in their state, and the teasers, the 6-point teasers, are minus 155. That's the standard price. And I say, I'm so sorry, bro.
Find something else to do. Yeah.
This might not be for you, because this isn't going to be a profitable game long term if you're laying minus 155. But it is what it is. Go find minus 120 out there if you can. If you're paying over minus 130, I probably don't recommend it as strongly. But my first leg of this 6-point teaser, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts playing in Berlin against the Atlanta Falcons. So I usually like to tease through the 7 down, and maybe, like last week I did 8.5 points with the Chargers, teased it down to 2.5. I thought that was a smash spot to get a teaser like that. We're not getting this one through the 7, but I don't think it really matters. Just taking Indianapolis to win the game. I understand this is an international game, could be a little bit of weirdness there. But I also think those turnovers last week, that really isn't who Indianapolis was. That isn't what this team has been the entire season. And Indianapolis almost came back to contend in that game, despite 6 turnovers and basically giving everything to Pittsburgh. I think that's a testament to, hey, this team's actually for real. None of my priors before last week have shifted on the Colts. Atlanta is still a huge question mark moving forward as to, this defense and that offense. Granted, they got a little bit healthier. They kind of hung in there with the Patriots last week, but I just don't think this Atlanta team is as good as we saw earlier in the season. I don't have as much optimism on them. And as the kids say, I think the Colts are kind of a wagon. I think the Colts are moving forward. they just get the job done. They've been a steamroller this season, and I think they're going to get the job done in Germany. All we need is a victory here to cover this portion of the teaser. So that's what I'm going with, the Colts.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to go another game. We're getting this one's over the touchdown. Didn't quite make it my spread pick. I mean, you could talk me into it, by the way, but I'm going to offer it here as a teaser. But for all the reasons, I'm going to lay it out here. Detroit on the road at Washington -8, teasing down to 2. So basically, just needing them to win this game by a field goal or more. This Washington team could be really bad, by the way. Like, they could be falling apart. Been bad vibes and juju around Daniel staying healthy all year. And it just came to a head at the end of that blowout. I mean, they were already getting mollywopped, right? And Seattle just laid it on them like right away. Absolute domination. One of the bigger throw in the towel games that we've seen, except they didn't throw in the towel with Daniels. He stayed on the field and his elbow went the wrong way. And this team can go any number of ways emotionally, but quite frankly, I just don't think they're very good. Right. I mean, here's what they've done in recent weeks. Lost by 24 to Seattle, lost by 21 to the Chiefs, lost by 22 to the Cowboys. That's the last 3 weeks. And lost to the Bears the week before that with so this team, I think, is one of those teams that could be just trending down. Yep. And the power ratings may not have caught up to that. The power ratings have it at 8. I mean, I could talk you into more. Detroit, meanwhile, lost in a big rivalry game, and Dan Campbell was not happy after that game. I have a feeling they're putting in a hard week of practice, and now they get an opponent they can absolutely undress. But just their offense, like
you know the trend, don't you?
What's that?
You're gonna be seeing it everywhere this week if you haven't seen it multiple times already. In fact, I'm probably going to put it out on the Pool Genius account here after this. The Lions, over the last 3 years, they are 12-0 ATS when coming off of a straight up loss.
Oh, well,
and that matches their MO, right? Their coach's whole demeanor and everything. I think there are a couple concerns with the Lions that maybe they're just not as good as they were earlier in the season, and they have some offensive line injuries that caught up to them. Yep. On the other hand, this Washington team, as you laid out, is a complete mess. Yes,
this is a get right game. Because set aside Jaden Daniels being out, right? So they don't have their young starter quarterback. This team has given up. They are dead last in net yards per pass allowed. Dead last. 7.7. They've given up, I mean, how many touchdown passes did they allow in the first half? I mean, Seattle could have put more on, right? Smith and Jigba didn't actually score, but the other receivers did. But they've given up 19 touchdown passes this year, and they're dead last in, like I said, net yards per attempt. That has nothing to do with Daniels. So this defense is a mess. And this is the type of matchup with a team that can absolutely run the ball and then hit you with big pass plays that you could see another butt whipping. So I'm comfortable on the teaser line. I could have made it my spread pick, but I'm comfortable I don't think Washington's winning this game. I would be surprised if Washington won this game. And so I'm willing to lay the teaser price.
That's Dan Quinn calling, saying,
"Yeah, said
hey,
what are you talking about?
Don't count us out just yet, but we are." So
he actually wanted me to play quarterback. He heard I could throw it 5 yards.
That's what that call is. It's for a tryout.
Yeah.
So that is our teaser pick of the week. It is the Colts -0.5 point. The Detroit Lions teased down to -2, getting that at -120 odds. And that is going to do it for our NFL pick show for week 10. We encourage you to look at our upset picks video, which will be on the Pool Genius YouTube channel about the same time that this video comes out. Also considering subscribing, liking this video really helps us out, really shows us you like what we do here each and every week on the Pool Genius YouTube channel. So with that, good luck in NFL Week 10.